Tune in to Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network channel. May the sports be with you. Because I am the hero the Sports Jedi deserves, but not the one it needs right now. Long live Lexus King. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Heel of the Ring podcast here on the Sports Jedi Network. We have more interviews here today. We have a special guest, but before we introduce our special guest, let me say hello to my partner in crime, to my co-host, Chris. What's going on, Chris? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We're keep doing our interviews, man. The grind doesn't stop. Grind does not stop. Busy June. We got even busier. Busy couple weeks. So hope you guys enjoy it. Let's go.
Absolutely. We're going to bring in from Laredo, Texas, the hidden gem, the dream catcher, and your five-star internet champion, the one and only Denisse Dae is joining us. Hi, Denisse. How are you?
Hi, guys. I'm doing good. How are you?
I am well. We appreciate you joining us here on this evening. And of course, this is Chris, my co-host, and we're ready to rock and roll. I'm going to ask you this question. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I am from Laredo, Texas, border town, next door to Mexico. I was born and raised here. What else? Let's see. I'm 24 years old, almost turning 25 next month. I don't like that. um, what else? I don't know. I always forget my own personal. I don't know. I've been
All
wrestling
right.
for 6 years now. Um, and I love hot Cheetos. Fun fact. There you go. I'll just throw in a fun fact for there.
Beautiful. All right, let me ask this question. We all have an origin story. When it was that, what made you fall in love with professional wrestling to the point where you're now in the ring taking bumps? What was that moment that you said, I fell in love with this art?
Um, okay. So growing up, I grew up with just boys. My mom had a best friend and she had all boys. And so whenever I would hang out with them, it was just boy stuff, right? And one time they were watching wrestling. I was 8 years old. And I don't know, I just remember watching it and I was like, this is pretty cool. Like, I think I want to do this. I want to be a wrestler. So that literally, I just started waiting for Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown. And then when I was around 16, 17, I found out that there was like a wrestling here in my hometown. And so I started going to the shows and one day the trainer actually reached out to me. He's like, hey, I see that you go to a lot of shows. I see that you want to be a wrestler. If you're interested, would you want to come by and start training? And that's exactly what I did. I started training at 19 years old, and
Nice.
I haven't stopped since. Like, I have been going at it since I was 19.
Wow, grinding. That's awesome. Chris, you want, okay, Chris, throw it to you.
Yeah, take me back a little bit. We're still in the beginning of your wrestling journey, right? Take me back to your trainer reaches out to you and says, "Hey, come wrestle. We know you want to be a wrestler." Take me through that. Taking your first bumps. How did it feel to be in the ring? Were you nervous? Were your family and friends supportive? How was the whole beginning of being in the ring? How was that experience for you?
Yeah, I remember actually. My first day at training, I remember looking at the ring and being like, this is crazy. Like, I remember having like these goosebumps, this feeling like this is like everything that I hope to be, right? And like just standing a few feet from a wrestling ring, it's crazy, right? Because you're used to seeing it on TV and you're
And now
like,
you're in it, and now you
and
get to run the ropes, and it probably feels so much like cool. It feels cool, right?
it,
Like,
it felt like the most amazing feeling. And I've never been able to top that feeling because it's like the first experience of it. Uh, the first time I took a wrestling bump, I was like, oh, yeah, this kind of hurt. You kind of have to love it to like stay for it. And I don't know, I just knew that the first time I took the bump, I was like, yep, this is like exactly what I want to do for like the rest of my life. I want to just do this. Like there's no more than just wrestling.
No, so who are some of your men or trainers early on? Who are some of the people that you really looked up to in those early times for advice, or even your early trainers? Who are some of those people, and talk about how they helped you along your way.
I'm sorry, it cut off a little. I couldn't hear
No,
you.
you're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. Your trainers. Talk to me
Mhm.
a little bit about who are some of your mentors in your early days, even still now, whether it's wrestlers, promoters, alumni, people that are in the big space right now. Who are some of your early mentors that really got you started in the wrestling business?
So my coach still to this day, his name is Luis Spartan Ramirez. He's actually the one that I've trained with and still train with, right? I am a 5-star graduate. First female to do that too. So that's pretty exciting.
Awesome.
Yes,
Um,
nice.
I told him when I was 19, right? When I first started training, I told him uh, I want to have my first wrestling match before I hit 20. Like, I know it's a couple months into training, but I know I can do it. And if you just like give me your time, and I promise I won't let you down. And so that's exactly what I did. I had my first match a few months in, but it was also during quarantine, during COVID time. Remember that?
Mm.
So my first
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, how was your first? Well, what was your experience like in your first match? Oh, but it being during COVID probably wasn't a good experience.
It it was not the exact same experience that another wrestler would have, right? Wrestling in a big scene with people. Mine was kind of more like a live broadcast, like we were showing it, we were recording it.
Okay, okay. So people were still watching, on their phone or their YouTube or whatever you guys were streaming.
Yeah, yeah, but it was not the same, right? Obviously, there was like our like wrestlers and our trainers were
Right.
like back and watching us being the crowd, right? Being the crowd. So it was still like we still went through the curtains, we still went through the announcing of the music, still like having to put up on a match, and I was just like, this is crazy. So I went from having that, right, like 5, 6 people watching me wrestle plus the broadcasting, um, to fast forward my first official match, and it was crazy. It went from like to 6 people to like, oh, now there's like 50, 60 people watching you. Good luck. And I'm like,
Nice.
oh, okay, yeah. And I also had to be like the bad guy because at the time that a girl that I wrestled, she was like way smaller than I was. So
Oh, okay, so you got to play that heel role.
I had to play the hero, which I'm not really good at. I've been told that I suck
Oh,
much. So um, it was interesting. I actually got my first win in my first match, so it was pretty accelerating,
nice.
and I loved it. And he's the one who's been pushing me and believing in me, and I mean, he's the reason why I even said that we actually had like a promo class in our first few days of training, and he's like, cut a promo, tell us who you are and what do you want to do. And I remember saying, like, I know there hasn't been any female to graduate, but best believe I am going to be the first female to graduate from this academy. And
You were.
I was. And
Beautiful.
it's been crazy. It's been an honor to be the first female. I hope that opens like more doors. Maybe more girls want to come and wrestle. I'm still the
Yes.
only female, so I want more girls to train with us. Um,
That's good. That's great. That's women's wrestling's even getting more bigger and better than it ever was before. So even like when somebody goes to a show that you're performing at, even a little girl out there might, it doesn't have to be a big WWE or anything like that. They just go to one of your shows, see you wrestle, they're hooked automatically, just like you were when you went to the local show and you wanted to do it. So it's the same thing, Kev.
Indeed. Okay, now you talking about that experience as making history and talking about historic. How significant was to wrestle in El Cine del Rey? Tell me your thoughts from in your words because I saw you post it, but I want to hear it from you.
Oh, you know how they say like it's like a full circle sometimes, like you go into a full circle. That's exactly what it felt like because I was just a trainee, right? When I first entered to Cine del Rey, and I was like, wow, like this is pretty cool. This is like a cool place to wrestle at. I even wrote down my name in the wall. And I was like, I'm gonna come back here and I'm gonna become as a wrestler. And I said that. I was like, I'm gonna come back as a wrestler.
Awesome.
And I don't know, just waiting backstage, and then the second my song came out, I was like, oh,
This was happening.
it's happening. Like that, I have to go out now. Like I can't stop now. The match was pretty fun, and it was a triple threat, women, beautiful match. I got manhandled, not gonna lie, but it was so cool. I would do it again. It was such a fun experience. Just seeing your little goals that you set to yourself being accomplished is such like it's such a good feeling, because like it means like all the sacrifices that you do mean something, make it worth something. And that's something that I had to learn with wrestling, that there's a lot of sacrifices.
All right, and was that triple threat main event that you guys had in Cine del Rey?
No, we were not the main event. I think also I will say in advance, I do have a Dory brain, so I do forget stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No
um,
problem.
but I remember it was an exciting match. I remember that much, and I had a lot of fun, and that's the
Now,
most important part.
Now, could you safe to say that El Cine del Rey is like the 2300 arena, the ECW arena in Philadelphia for people up north? So people that are listening, we're comparing it somewhat because you said signing the wall. So I'm pretty sure for down part of where you're from in Laredo, Texas, in southern Texas, that Cine
Yeah.
del Rey is a big venue, an important venue, similar to the 2300 arena in Philadelphia in the East Coast up north. So I just wanted to clarify that to our audience there. Let me ask this: you just said you like working as a baby face, or
Yes.
compared to not working as a heel. Now, what are the characteristics that makes you stand out with your baby face? I can see already your smile.
Oh, thanks. um, honestly, it's that. So like outside of wrestling, I'm a pretty much an extroverted person, right? Like I'll come up to a stranger and start talking. That's just the way I am. Um, I've always just been a people's person, I guess you could say. I'll talk with you, I'll hang out with you. I don't even have to know you to have meaningful conversations. By the way, like I yap. I'm a yapper. Um, so I don't know. I don't know if it's just like I've always been told I have like a bubbly personality. I have this welcoming personality. I've always been told that. And honestly, the person that you see in the ring is not different from this girl. Like we're the same person. Obviously, just one kicks ass and the other one tries not to do it in real life. Um, but it's that. It's just being welcoming, being this. I don't know, this joyful person. I guess always smiling. Um, and and it's nice. And then I gravitate towards a lot of kids. Like kids gravitate towards me. Like they're always coming up to me, they're high-fiving me, they're like it's always honestly I'm more like with the kids. And I love that because I love kids. And it's so cool when the parents come up to me and they're like, for example, like the girl example that you gave me, I've had a parent come up to me and be like, thank you for being a role model to my daughter, to show her like that you can step in the ring with anybody, like
Yep.
you can be anything you want to be. And that just like I started crying. I was like, that is like the most beautiful thing to ever hear. Like that's you want to make it in this business and you're being a role model to somebody. And I got emotional. But yeah, that is
No,
that.
that's the realism. I love it. That's the realism of how you feel. That one thing to say when wrestling, when you could connect with an audience with some realism, with your real life and your personal, you have an audience, especially when you have the youth. You know, being a representation, being Latina in the wrestling business in your own school, being female, is you're breaking barriers one person at a time, and you're impacting young girls. We all know the story from your region of where you're at, from just Roxanne Perez. Look at Roxanne Perez right now in the main roster and coming up through NXT, coming up through reality of wrestling, that hunger and desire. And that fire seems like it's brewing there in Laredo, Texas, or South Texas, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, it's hard, honestly. It's a lot of heart. Um, and that's why I mean Roxy is where she is. I mean, she's been killing it since literally day one. I was actually there for her first ever match. As a fan, right? I was a fan at the time and still am. I love her to death. Um, so just seeing her do that and then seeing Laredo Kid also going up to there
Yep.
to the, it's like it's hard. It really is. It's a lot of heart. It's a lot of sacrifice. But I mean, that's one thing that I mean, as a Latina or Latin, like we're shown like todo es con corazón. Like you have to do it with all your heart. If you're not gonna go 100%, it's not gonna work. You have to go 100% at all times.
No, y como se dice el dicho, sí se puede,
Sí
sí
se
se
puede.
puede.
Se puede.
And you and Laredo Kid, Roxanne Perez, La Garza, you see it, sí se puede. And that's wonderful to see in professional wrestling all across, no matter what. Just that representation. That I love that there. Chris, give your questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, while we're on the subject of the Texas wrestling scene and people really coming out of there, I'm curious to know, are you in that point now where you're traveling to different states and different parts of the country, or are you still like trying to make yourself known within like the Texas scene, like spreading out to maybe more of the like cities in the state? Like how's the traveling been? Like where have you been outside of Texas wrestling, or what are some of your favorite places? Like how's that going?
Yes, I actually have wrestled in Mississippi. That was pretty cool. Um, I could say I've wrestled out of the country too. I wrestled in Mexico. But funny story, I didn't know I was booked for that show. I
Oh.
Yeah, I remember someone sending me a flyer and they're like, "Hey, you're here?" And I was like,
You're like, what? I'm here? I didn't know that. You're telling me
I was
for the
like,
first time.
no one told me, but I
Oh, we got a little technical difficulties. We'll get her back on.
can you see me?
There you go. We can hear you loud and clear.
Sorry. Yeah, and I was like, wrestling is wrestling. So like, I'll go. I don't care. I was like, I'm gonna go wrestle. So that's how I wrestled out of the country, by the way. I went to wrestle in Mexico.
Nice.
Didn't know because the also wrestling the American style versus lucha, totally different, by the way. Totally different. And I knew that.
Very.
But I haven't practiced it so much that when I went to Mexico, I was kind of like trying to figure it out, and then they were calling it in Spanish, and I can speak Spanish, in which it helped, but obviously lucha terms could mean so many things. So I
Yes.
remember them calling the match, and I was like,
Okay.
what? And they're like, let's go, and it's like best out of three, and I was like, what? So like we went out there.
So they were calling it on the fly.
Yeah,
pretty
I was
much.
like, okay, we're going. All right, we're gonna go. And so, not the best match, I will not lie, but it was still one fun experience.
That's what it's
And
about.
and from what I remember, what made it even more special is that my dad lives in Mexico, and so he lives in Monterrey, Mexico,
Okay.
and where I wrestled was Nuevo Laredo, Mexico. So you're talking about like a 3-hour drive. So my dad drove 3 hours just to see me wrestle. Didn't put on the best match, but he said that this was pretty cool seeing me wrestle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're doing what you love.
Yeah. And so like that was my first out of the country wrestling. And then I do wrestle mostly in Texas. I'm still trying to make a name for myself within
Right.
Texas.
Okay.
Because Texas is a big
It's
wrestling
massive,
scene.
especially with the wrestling scene out there. Oh my God, I feel like a lot. There's so many good wrestlers that are like now breaking out that are from Texas. It's insane.
It's crazy how much talent Texas has. Like
Yeah.
you're discovering them. I'm still discovering them. I'm getting to meet them in the locker room, and I'm like, oh my god, I see you everywhere, and now I get to
Yeah.
talk to you. This is crazy. Um, but yeah, no, I'm still trying to make it in the Texas wrestling scene. I have been in and out most of the time of my wrestling journey just because like I had injuries, I had couple months into training, I had fractured my ankle. I was out for a
Oh,
little bit. Um, in 2021, I broke my hand
Oh,
wrestling, so I was out for a while. Um, I've had a concussion.
I've had
Uh,
multiple of those too.
it's multiple. Yeah, it's been a a hectic journey, but I know that's how I love it because some people like get hurt and then they stop. They're like, no, I don't want to get injured again.
Right.
Myself was like, I got injured, but my love for the sport hasn't changed, and I just want to keep going. Broken hand and everything, by the way, guys. I still have the plate here. Refuse to take it
wow.
No, I love that. Yeah, dude, that's passion, that's dedication. And I want to go a little bit back. When you were talking about your match in Mexico, calling on the fly, how you said, you weren't too familiar with like the lucha style.
out.
What's some, what kind of, so you more of a technical wrestler, a high flyer? What would your, style of wrestling be? Or are you trying to learn more lucha? Like, how would you describe yourself?
Um,
Like the strong style, the technical, the high flyer, a little bit of all.
I can do a little bit of everything, but it's more of a powerhouse.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I'm a powerhouse.
Nice. Okay, perfect.
I like to slam people around. But I'm still trying to learn a little bit of the lucha. Like again, it's Laredo. It has to have a little bit of lucha somewhere in there, you know.
Right.
But yes, it's more like a powerhouse that I present,
Nice.
which is crazy, right? A babyface powerhouse.
No, it could
No,
work.
it could work.
It could
It
work.
works good for like Willow Nightingale.
Willow
It works.
Nightingale. Yeah, yeah, you're
Willow
right.
Nightingale's a
Perfect
great
It
example
example.
of that. So
You see,
Great
no,
example.
that
it
works
works.
good with it works. It works perfect, Kev.
And a baby face who kicks ass, who smiles, but don't cross her path. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a move that I do. I do a flatliner to my opponents, and in the process of doing that flatliner, I smile at the crowd and I wave and I go, yeah, and I smack them to the ground. It's just my
It's just,
personality, you
I like it.
I
I
love
like
that.
it. I like it.
know.
Go
Now,
ahead,
do you okay? I have a couple questions. You have been in the ring with Tiffany Neves in the past before.
Yes.
Right now she's on fire, NWA Women's Champion. You've been in the ring with some different talents there. Your experience wrestling her and the opportunities you get.
Yeah. Oh, I have been blessed. When I tell you that I've been blessed with my opponents, Tiffany Nieves is someone that I wanted to wrestle for the longest time. And so when I found out that I was wrestling her, I guess I kind of got like a little mind switch, and I was like, I have to get like extra ready. Like it's Tiffany Nieves, okay? I was like, oh my god, I have to be on game. And meeting her behind, like even before wrestling her, she is literally the sweetest person I have ever met. She's sweet, she's kind, she's so smart, and like just talking about how like the match was going to be, I learned so much from her that day. Um, and that's what I love, wrestling names, right? And it's not even just because they have the name; it's because they have the knowledge.
Experience.
Yeah, they
Right.
have the experience, they have the knowledge. It's what I want to learn, you know? And I just been blessed to wrestle Tiffany Nieves, Rachel Rose, um, so many names. I don't know. I've wrestled too many girls at this point, and and they've all just been so great. Like they've all always give me a little feedback on how I can do things better, and that means a lot because then I do apply it. I don't ever take anything to heart. I always be like, if this was bad, perfect, then let me go and fix that, because I will never take any criticism badly. I always want to use it to make myself better.
Better.
That's the
Right.
goal.
And speaking of getting better, I do admire you've been into several seminars. You went one with QT Marshall, also in all Caribbean. That shows that you want to grow. You want to continue to grow, get information, acknowledge you. Something we don't stop doing on this earth is learning. We learn something new each and every day, and I like the way you apply that there. Keep up there and acknowledge. I also saw that you were. Did you were part of Mission Pro Wrestling as well? Did you go to school there or work there along with Thunder Rosa?
Yeah. Yes, actually, when I first came back from the injury, I didn't know where I was gonna be at, right? Because like wrestling is a momentum thing. You kind of have to keep going so people can know your name, and if you're out for a hot minute, people slowly start like, like who is she? Who is this wrestler? And so that was my biggest concern when I had come back. Um, and when I heard about Mission Pro, it was like an all women's wrestling, and I was like, that is like the most beautiful thing I've ever heard, and I would love to be part of it. So I started working out. I started going back into it right again because I had just suffered an injury. Um, and when I felt like I was ready mentally and physically, I had reached out to them and I was like, hey, like my name's Denisse Dae. I've been wrestling for this long. I would love the opportunity to wrestle for your company. Please let me know, right? Like, and so I remember sending the message and freaking out. I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, are they gonna reply? Am I gonna be left on scene? Um, and one day I was getting ready for a show, and I remember seeing the notification and being like, oh, Mission Pro has sent you a message. And I remember dropping everything. I was doing my makeup and I dropped everything. And they were like, hey, are you available this day? I started crying out of like emotions. I was like, oh my God. Like I went up to my partner and I was like, look, they texted me like they're coming in and I was like, this is all I wanted.
Nice.
So I went, I had a match, fun match. I had so much fun. Um, and I remember telling myself, a goal of mine is not only to wrestle for them, but for them to notice me and hopefully bring me back and become
Yes.
a Mission Pro regular. And so I kept going. And then one day they messaged me and they're like, hey, we have all these dates. Are you available? And I was working out at the gym and I started crying in the gym. And I was like, look, they said, like, I did it. I'm a regular now. Like, I started crying, all these emotions. I was like I said, when you said goals for yourself and you actually see them happening, it is such like an awesome feeling. And Thunder, I mean, I got to meet her, I got to talk with her, I got to learn from her. And because of how much like try to be with them, I had the opportunity to do something with Thunder Rosa outside of Mission Pro. We went to the San Antonio, what was it, Alamo Dome, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and we were doing this little segment where she was going for the other team and I was going for the other one. I was the bad guy, and I got to get body slammed by Thunder Rosa on a football field. Not everyone
Oh
can do
yeah,
that.
you're. Oh, so you're. Okay, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah, I had. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Nice.
No, that's pretty cool, dude. Yeah, I'm seeing it right now. She has the interview. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and like so now every time we're at Target or like at Walmart and I see like an action figure of Thunder Rosa, I'm like, hey, I got body slammed by her. Like I know her. I know her.
That's cool because that Mission Pro has Izzy Moreno, who's an up and coming star, but yourself. So there's been a lot of different people from that Mission Pro. I wish they'll get back going, but that's another story for another day. I wish they'll get that school back up and running, but again,
Me too.
that's another story for another time. But there's a lot of young talented ladies there. I saw that picture that you took on the ring apron with Izzy Nair Robles, who's a friend of our show here. We interviewed her, our first female, by the way, that we interviewed on the Heal the Ring podcast from Puerto Rico. Nahir killing it. And you were there with some great companies, and it's great to see you ladies all get along and or at least communicate and help each other with this professional wrestling family. Because even it don't matter if you're in Texas, Puerto Rico, New York, Florida, it's still professional wrestling. It's for the love and art of professional wrestling and working together and trying to help each other grow the art and work. I love that. I love that collaboration from you ladies, and everyone, all the male and women from at least we interviewed. It seems like everyone is a real humble family type ship, which I love it. You don't see, when we hear about with all the race, with all the tribalism with the big companies, it's great to see the independent scene. Not really more. It's more of a family working together, and I
Everybody
gotta
knows
give that.
everybody and supports
Yeah.
everybody. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
it's crazy how much love there is as well in wrestling. Like that's all we want from anybody, to see you succeed, come back and come back better. And that's exactly what like Mission Pro did for an all women's thing. Like as a woman being surrounded by these amazing, talented, powerful women, you feed off of that energy. And when I started like doubting myself before I even wrestled, I just remembered like, look around, look where I am, look at the women that are with me. Like it's such an empowering feeling, and I miss that. Not gonna lie, I do. I miss being surrounded by like so much women empowerment. Um, and yeah, I mean, wrestling has a lot of love. Like you said, everybody knows everybody. um, and that's what makes it amazing. That's what makes it a family, and I love that.
I agree with you on that. Let me ask this one. Tell me your experience with All Caribbean Wrestling. I know Mark Henry's doing his thing in there. You get able to work with All Caribbean Wrestling?
Yes, yes. I didn't get to meet him personally. We were doing tapings. It was fun. I got to wrestle. See what I mean? Dory brain.
That's
Uh,
all right.
I got to wrestle two girls. I can't remember. I am sorry that my brain is failing me right now. Um, One of them I know them personally, right? And it was so cool because we're talking about like it's crazy how like one day we're like just wrestling like for the indie scene, right? Like here in Texas, and now we're like doing like the all Caribbean, and it's like, how did that happen from one day to another? Like, and it's like, girl, I don't even know. And we wrestled each other, had fun. Um, Personally, I had a good experience, right? I enjoyed working for them. I hope to come again. Hopefully, I made a good impression. But it was a lot of fun. I got to look it at a different perspective, right? Because they're a more like, how do you describe it? Like, not your typical indie scene, like you go out in the show. This is like videotaping, kind of like television, right? You have to like know where the cameras are, and so like that
Right.
was a different experience for me because um, we're not so used to it so much, right? Like if I'm wrestling like somewhere else, like I'm not used to like having to always be looking at the camera, but here I was like, oh, you hit something, look at the camera, know your times, right? And everything was like learning. That was the most learning experience I've had, like to see how it works, right? For bigger companies.
Yes. I think that's what All Caribbean is trying to do, is prepare the talent, the young men and women, when they have that opportunity to go either to a TV based company, they'll
Yeah.
know the timing, they'll know the what cameras to look at, when to allow the crowd to breathe, to take that in, because it's, and also have a reaction for the television audience as well. Like yourself, if you're like yourself, you're a baby face, when to
Yeah.
look in the camera and give that smile, or when is the art of the comeback, or the selling, when
Yeah.
to sell. And I think All Caribbean, with the tutelage of Mark Henry and his coaching staff, I think is preparing people that well. And that's a good thing there, that you got that opportunity to work there with All Caribbean. Chris, I'll throw it to you now.
Yeah, I probably got like two more. Again, I don't want to take up most of your time, but I do want to ask you this question because this is a big deal. This is a big deal. I'm gonna quote something from your Instagram. I
Okay.
said I would, and I did. Your first ever wrestling shop women's champion. Talk to me about you finally getting gold around that waist. I mean, you probably must have felt so proud. Again, I know you probably cried, all your hard work, and I'm sorry I had to throw that one out there.
You're you're exposing me, Chris, that I'm a crier. You know
No,
what? I'm not
no,
even
no,
gonna
no,
lie.
because you
I'm not.
should be proud of that. You should be proud of that because it's tears of joy in a good way. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, how was it? How's that feel? Being a first ever champion, and that's your first ever championship is too, right?
It was actually my third
Oh, okay,
champion. Yes.
nice. Okay.
But it was
So
the first.
okay, so let me rephrase this, right? Talk to me a little bit about what it means to be a champion for a promotion, because ultimately, they're trusting you to, be their top female talent,
Yeah.
have these big matches, essentially carry their brand around your waist. How does that feel for you being a champion?
I mean, when they announced that I was going to be in a match for the first ever like women's champion, I mean, there's no feeling to describe it. You're like, this is history, right? Like you're making history. Um, and so I remember after like the pinning, right? Like 1, 2, 3, and the crowd made it so memorable. There was like streams, there was confetti, there was like
Nice.
Beautiful.
so much love for it. And I remember when the bell rang, yes, you're right. I started crying. Because I was like, oh my God, this happened. I'm the first ever female to represent as a champion
Yes.
of this company. That is something that is always going to be there. Like when they ever ask, like, oh, who was the first female? Oh, Denisse Dae was the first female. Um, I don't know. It was this feeling like I said, when you
Hard work paid off.
yeah, all the hard work, all the sacrifices, it was everything. Like, and then, like you said, they trust you to represent their company. So, like, it just, you just keep going. It doesn't mean you slow down now. No, it means go even harder. Like, you have to go harder now. You're a champion. You have to show why you're the champion.
Yes.
So it does put a little more pressure, honestly. But I like that. I like pressure. And I think I actually work better under pressure than just regular.
That's good. A lot of, because even more promoters will trust you and
Right.
give you those big matches and the big spots in the card because they'll know that you're able to work under that pressure.
Yeah, like I remember at some point I had like those 2 championships prior to the Wrestle Shop one.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point I held almost all 3, and they were like, "Oh, so it's DD3 belts now." And I was like, "No."
Okay, that goes well together, actually.
That goes well,
DD3
yeah.
belts, no, that flows.
Yeah, at some point now I'm back to 1, but it is still very important. I actually have it right here with me, the Internet Championship.
That's
First
probably a
go.
pain in the
female.
ass traveling around with that thing, right?
Yeah. Well, and it was crazy because, like, obviously this is the school that I train at. Obviously I saw a lot of people come and go, right? And I know it was mostly men that were holding this title. And I remember our founder, he was like, the internet title, it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be a man,
Exactly.
That's right.
That's the whole point of the internet title. Like anybody can be a champion. You just need to prove yourself. And I was like, maybe one day, right? Maybe one day I will be able to hold that. And now just representing my school, and again, like the first female to do that, it's crazy. It's so crazy.
You should be very proud of that because that's awesome. Not again, when you're the first, nobody and not too many people can say they did that. I'll ask you this one, right? Kind of one of my final ones here. I like to always know because we talk about your beginning, we talk about where you're at now. What are some of your future goals? Is it to get another championship? Is it to maybe have a match with a specific somebody? Is it to travel more, get more bookings? What's kind of your future goals coming up for the next couple months here?
I have a lot, so hopefully I will make them come true like I've been doing all so far. I want to get in better shape. I want to become more stronger outside the ring. I want to become more stronger, of course, so I can throw people around in the ring. I want to wrestle again, more shows here in Texas. I want to wrestle more for RCW, which is one of the biggest companies in San Antonio.
Nice. Build your name up in Texas before you try to expand type of thing, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Just travel more, wrestle as much as I can. That is the goal. Like,
No,
I'll
absolutely. The experience.
the experience. Yes, I take as many bookings as I can. Some are good, some are bad, but it's a learning experience, and
Absolutely.
that's all I want. Honestly, my goal is just to wrestle more this year, and maybe get another title run. Maybe come back for my
We're here for it.
championship.
Hey, we'll be ready. I will be ready for that one. DD2 belts.
DD2 belts,
coming.
right?
Go ahead, Kev.
All right, yeah. Let me ask this question.
Mhm.
If you had an opportunity to wrestle outside of Texas, outside international, where am I sending you to wrestle for a couple of weeks? Would it be Mexico, Japan, the Caribbean, Canada, or across the United States? If I had somewhere to send you to want take that experience, where would I send you?
Who? Who? uh, that is a great question.
Think big.
I'm gonna go with Japan.
I think everybody says that.
Yeah, for the reason that everyone says it, it's so different. The wrestling style in Japan is way different to the wrestling here, and I feel like you said, wrestling is like an wrestling. You're always
All right,
learning. You're never stop learning with wrestling,
correct.
and I feel like learning a new style of wrestling would help you become a good wrestler, right? Because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to learn lucha. I'm trying to learn the American. I'm trying to learn um, like the way they do it in Japan or the way they do it.
Little Yoshi strong style.
Yeah, like it's so different, but the principle, it's so beautiful on how everything is like detailed,
Yes, yes.
And I love that.
Yes. Let me ask this other question. Right now, what is your consider your strength in the wrestling ring and your weaknesses that you need some more work in? Is it promos? Is it selling? Is it no, you can be brutally honest.
Brutally honest, my promos, I
Okay.
I suck. I'm not even gonna lie. I I am also very like you're gonna be like, really? I'm a very shy person to public speaking. And so like whenever we do promo classes or I have to cut a promo, I blank. Like I cannot think of anything. Um I stutter a lot when I'm doing promos because of so much like nervousness and like, oh, I cannot. I would rather take like 10 body slams than cut one promo any day. But I'm trying to do better on that. Um, my strength, I would say my connection with people. Honestly, that's everywhere I go. I've been blessed and grateful that I've had a good reaction everywhere I go, even when people that don't know me. I've always gotten good feedback. So
Okay.
I guess I connect good with the crowd. I could say that.
Right. But just think of the art of the promo. Just try to bring some realism. Like, if you notice, cut something real. And I think you can never get nervous. You can never go wrong with something that's with you, that's really with you. Whenever the situation, I think that will, a little bit of advice there. I mean, look at me. I don't know how to cut a promo to save my own life, but I'm just saying that when I see, it's just, a little realism goes a long way because you connect. You already got the smile, you already got the look, you already got the connection, the personality. Now, just remember, you just got to make us connect with you. Remember, you have to try to convince us or talk to us to buy a ticket to go see you.
Yeah.
That's the art promo.
And that's exactly like what you said is 100% true. Because for me, when I've been told to cut a promo on, like right now, like if you just tell me you have to go out there and cut a promo, surprisingly, that's when I do the best. When I don't have time to think and I just have to be like 100% real,
Yeah,
like who is
Like,
this
yeah,
girl?
okay.
It just happens. It just happens to be
that's
the
good.
best promos I shoot.
That's good. That's good to hear on that one. Absolutely love that there. On that there. I asked this question here. Let's do some fantasy booking. I always ask this question to all my guests. I'm the booker. I say, look, I'm gonna book you for WrestleMania for 2 nights. It's a 2 night event. Night one, you could wrestle anyone from the past or anyone, a legend. And night number two, you could wrestle anyone from any wrestling promotion. Who would you like to wrestle?
So for night one, I would love to wrestle AJ Lee. She is the reason I started fell in love with the women's wrestling division, and I just love her in general. So just having a match with her would mean so much. The fact that I could learn from her too, because we have the same struggles in and out of the ring. So I would love that to work with her. And plus, I mean, it's AJ Lee, guys. Come on, it's AJ.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
WrestleMania 2, if I could wrestle anybody and it was possible, I would like to wrestle Randy Orton.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, a guy. Yeah, I've wrestled guys my beginning of my career. I told you
Nice.
I never had any females. So most of my
Right.
journey
Yeah.
has been with men. So if I
Take the
could
RKO.
yeah, I'll gladly any day. First the bell rings, RKO, good. I'll go out happy. I'll go out happy. I'm not gonna complain.
Hell no.
No, of
Just
course
say,
not.
I know this is gimmick infringement, but just say her name and she her peers.
That fast. That fast. It would be that fast. But
Well,
no, I mean he's crazy talented, right?
Yeah,
And
he's one of my
the way
favorites.
he moves in the ring, I could learn so much. Just
yeah,
by trying to
psychology.
yeah, psychology. I could learn so much. And I mean, I'm a female, sure, but I mean, why not?
It's still wrestling. It's still psychology. It's just
Wrestling,
yeah, yeah. Not, now, Denisse, I would love you to put some booking information. I tried to look for it. I didn't find it. I usually like to promote where, for them, your email address. When in the future, let us know. We're going to push it. So if anyone outside of the Texas area, like in our friends in Florida, our friends in New York, or in Puerto Rico, would like to give Denisse a opportunity for booking to come out and wrestle. We'll get that information for her email, so you could send an email to her and invite her to come over to one of your shows to probably possibly wrestle her. Different style, different take of wrestling. We want to make sure that everyone gets booked and work, at least from this platform, so everyone can get amplified. And everybody be able to work with each other, and the word gets out to get to know Denisse Dae. Denisse, I appreciate you giving us this time. Thank you for this wonderful interview. Do not be a stranger. You're more than welcome here. We want to continue keep an eye on your journey. By the way,
Yes.
tomorrow we got a friend of yours. I don't know if a friend or ally, a friend or a rival. The bombshell Harley Danielle's coming on.
Haley?
Haley.
Haley. How many
We will
times
be
have we
having her on tomorrow.
I'm gonna jump in tomorrow just so I can start.
You're more than welcome. I'll send the link. We haven't had. You know what? We had a promo between the Uptown Boys and the Major League Blondes. They cut each other a promo, but we never had the rebuttal. So you're more than welcome. Just send the back signal. I'll send the key, and you come in back door, and you could promo battle each other on the stream. You're more than welcome. You're more than So Haley, they're probably gonna put out that bombshell, but she's coming in hot. She's coming in hot tomorrow, so we can't wait to interview her as well.
I love her. I love her so much. But I just tell her this. If I don't show up tomorrow, just tell her this. I'm waiting for that rematch for my championship bag. Just tell her she cheated to win. I didn't.
Oh, so here we go.
We'll make sure to throw that out there.
All right, so stay tuned tomorrow because we will have Haley on tomorrow. The bombshell will be joining us. But again, this is the Heal the Ring. We want to thank the dream catcher, Denisse Dae. Get to know her. Please follow her on the Instagram. If you're in the Texas area, go buy a show. Go buy a ticket to her show. Take a look and support. And again, muchas gracias, mija. We appreciate everything. Don't go off the air. I'm going to run the outro. We want to thank you out there as well. So stay tuned. We thank you guys. This is the Heal the Ring podcast. We appreciate everyone. We'll see you next time. Don't let life pin you. Always kick out. Always get yourself over. And may the sports be with you. Que Dios lo bendiga. We'll see you next time.